There comes a moment in every person's life when a quiet whisper rises above the noise. A pull towards something more, something meaningful, something deeply personal. It doesn't always arrive with thunder or bright lights. Sometimes it comes as a gentle nudge, a restless feeling, or a dream that refuses to leave you alone. That is calling. And too often, instead of welcoming it, we fear it. We fear the responsibility. We fear the change. We fear what people will say. We fear failing in public. But what if that very fear is proof that the calling is real? A calling from God is not meant to make you comfortable. It is meant to make you become. You were not designed to live a copied life. You were not created to walk a recycled path. There is an assignment written into your existence that cannot be fulfilled by anyone else. Not by someone more talented, not by someone more educated, not by someone more connected. Only you. Many people spend their lives asking for safety when they were built for significance. Safety keeps you small. Calling stretches you wide. Safety asks you to maintain. Calling asks you to transform. Think about this. The seed never becomes a tree by staying safe inside the shell. It must break open. It must push through darkness. It must rise without knowing exactly what it will look like when it reaches the surface. Growth always feels risky from the inside. Your calling will often lead you where your confidence has not yet caught up. That is not a mistake, that is design. Faith grows in motion, not in waiting rooms. You may say, I'm not ready. But readiness is rarely a requirement, willingness is. The most powerful journeys begin with imperfect yeses. You don't need the full map. You need the next step. Light appears as you move. And understand this clearly. Your calling will not look like everyone else's success story. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to abandon divine direction. When you compare, you trade assignment for approval, but approval fades, purpose fulfills. There will be voices, internal and external, that say you are underqualified, too late, too early, too different, too broken. But calling is not built on your resume. It is built on your design. What you lived through is not disqualification. It is preparation. Nothing is wasted in a purposeful life. Not the pain, not the delay, not the detours. Each part becomes material for your message and strength for your service. Fear will try to convince you that the cost is too high, but regret costs more. Living half awake costs more. Ignoring your assignment costs more. You don't overcome fear by waiting for it to disappear. You overcome fear by deciding that obedience matters more than comfort. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement with meaning despite it. So when you feel that inner pull, honor it. When the opportunity appears, pray, then step. When the door opens, walk through with humility and boldness together. You are not here by accident. You are not gifted randomly. You are not placed in this time without reason. Do not fear God's unique calling on your life. It is not there to harm you. It is there to reveal you. Step forward. Your purpose is waiting. Your calling is not an accident, not a coincidence, not a lucky break, and not a last mid-decision written into your life story. It is intentional, deeply personal, and carefully designed with purpose, timing, and meaning. Long before you understood your strengths, your struggles, your personality, and your passions, there was already a direction placed within you, a quiet blueprint shaping your desires, your sensitivities, your curiosity, and even your discomfort with ordinary paths. Many people grow up believing purpose is something they must invent, compete for, or chase endlessly. But calling is not manufactured, it is discovered. It shows itself in patterns, in repeated interests, in problems that move your heart, in talents that come more naturally to you than to others, and even in the burdens you feel most strongly. What touches you deeply is often connected to what you are meant to change, heal, build, or lead. Your calling is personal, not generic, not replaceable, not transferable. It does not need you to become someone else. It asks you to become more fully yourself. That is why comparison is so dangerous. When you compare your path with someone else's, you begin to doubt your own design, your own pace, your own preparation. But purpose is not a racetrack, it is a fingerprint. Unique, specific, and unrepeatable. Even your life experiences, the painful ones, the confusing ones, the unfair ones, are not outside the calling. They are often part of the training. The rejection that strengthened your resilience, the delay that taught you patience, the failure that built your wisdom, the loneliness that developed your inner voice. All of these are threads woven into intentional preparation. Nothing is wasted when purpose is involved. What felt like a setback often becomes spiritual conditioning. Intentional calling also means you are equipped, even if not fully developed yet. Seeds contain trees not because they look like trees, but because they carry the design within. In the same way, your early abilities may look small, inconsistent, or unnoticed, but design does not disappear because it is undeveloped. Growth reveals what design already decided. Sometimes people expect calling to arrive as a loud announcement, a dramatic moment, or a perfect opportunity. More often, it arrives as a consistent pull, a recurring idea, a persistent interest, a quiet conviction that does not leave you alone. It returns in your thoughts, it shows up in your prayers, it appears in your conversations, it follows you through different seasons. That repetition is not coincidence, it is direction. Because calling is intentional, it will also stretch you beyond comfort. It will ask you to grow skills you have not mastered, to speak when you feel shy, to lead when you feel unsure, to begin when you feel unready. This stretching is not cruelty, it is alignment. Muscles grow through resistance. Character grows through responsibility. Purpose grows through participation. A deeply personal calling also means your method may look different. You may solve problems differently, communicate differently, create differently, lead differently. That difference is not a flaw, it is a feature. Your voice is part of the assignment. Your perspective is part of the solution. Your story is part of the impact. When you understand that your calling is intentional, you stop asking, why I me, with fear, and start asking, why not me, with humility and courage. You stop running from the pull and start listening to it. You stop waiting to become someone else and start developing who you already are. You are not randomly placed, randomly gifted, randomly driven, or randomly disturbed by certain needs in the world. There is intention behind your wiring, intention behind your longing, intention behind your direction. And when you begin to accept that truth, fear loses its authority and purpose gains its voice. Fear is usually treated like an enemy, a warning sign, a red light telling you to stop, step back, and stay where things feel safe and predictable. But when it comes to purpose, calling, and meaningful growth, fear often plays a different role. It is not always a signal to retreat. Many times, it is a signal that you are standing at the edge of expansion, elevation, and transformation. Fear often appears precisely when your purpose is asking more from you than your comfort zone is willing to give. Comfort zones are built for familiarity, routine, and control. Purpose is built for impact, change, and influence. When purpose calls, it almost always requires movement beyond what feels easy, known, and guaranteed. That stretch creates emotional resistance, mental doubt, and physical hesitation, and we label that feeling as fear. But what if fear is not proof that you are on the wrong path, but proof that the path is larger than your current self-image? Think about every major upgrade in your life. Your first time speaking up, your first leadership role, your first bold decision, your first public step, your first big responsibility. None of those moments arrived wrapped in comfort. They arrived with uncertainty, questions, and internal shaking. Yet those were the moments that expanded your capacity and revealed your hidden strength. Fear did not mean you were unqualified. It meant you were growing. A small assignment rarely produces big fear. Ordinary steps rarely create deep trembling. It is the meaningful moves, the purpose driven actions, the identity shifting decisions that stir your nerves. Fear increases when the stakes feel higher, when the visibility grows, when the responsibility deepens, when the outcome matters to your heart. That intensity is not accidental. It reflects significance. Many people mistakenly wait for fear to disappear before they act. They tell themselves they will move when they feel confident, certain, and fully prepared. But confidence is usually the result of action, not the requirement for it. Courage is built in motion, not in waiting. If you wait for fearlessness, you may wait forever. If you move with faith, fear gradually loses control. A fear also reveals attachment. Attachment to approval, attachment to perfection, attachment to guaranteed results. Purpose challenges all three. It asks you to act without universal approval, to begin without perfection, and to proceed without full certainty. That feels threatening to the ego, but freeing to the spirit. Growth begins where image protection ends. There is also a deeper truth. Fear often guards the doorway to your next level. Just like locked doors protect valuable rooms, emotional resistance often stands in front of meaningful advancement. If the step were small, the resistance would be small. If the step is life, shaping the resistance will feel heavy. The size of the fear often mirrors the size of the opportunity. However, fear must be understood, not worshipped. It should be listened to, examined, and then answered, not obeyed blindly. Ask what kind of fear you are feeling. Is it fear of harm or fear of stretching? Is it danger or discomfort? Purposeful fear usually sounds like, what if I fail? Not, I am unsafe. One calls for wisdom, the other calls for courage. Another powerful shift happens when you stop asking, how do I remove fear? And start asking, how do I move with meaning despite fear? That question changes your posture from avoidance to advancement. It turns fear from a wall into a doorway. You do not need to defeat fear before you begin. You need to decide that your calling deserves movement. Each small, obedient step sends a message to your mind and spirit that purpose is stronger than panic, direction is stronger than doubt, and growth is stronger than hesitation. So when fear appears near your calling, do not automatically step back. Pause, reflect, pray, prepare, and then step forward. Because very often, fear is not blocking your purpose, it is announcing it. One of the biggest myths about purpose and calling is the belief that you must have complete clarity before you begin, a full plan, a detailed map, guaranteed outcomes, and perfect understanding of every step ahead. Many people delay action for years because they are waiting for certainty, confirmation, and crystal clear direction. But calling rarely works that way. More often, clarity is progressive, not instant, and direction becomes visible through movement, obedience, and experience, not passive waiting. Think of walking at night with a small light. The light may only show a few steps ahead, not the entire road, not every turn, not the final destination. Yet those few visible steps are enough to begin. When you walk those steps, more of the path appears. Purpose works in a similar pattern. You are given enough understanding to start, not enough to control everything. Faith is not built on full visibility. It is built on trusted next steps. Waiting for full clarity can become a refined form of fear. It feels wise, cautious, and responsible on the surface, but underneath it often hides hesitation, self-doubt, and risk avoidance. You tell yourself you are preparing when reality you are postponing. Preparation is valuable, but preparation without participation becomes paralysis. At some point, learning must turn into doing. A faithful step does not mean a giant leap. It can be small, simple, and quiet. Starting the project, making the call, enrolling in the class, sharing the message, helping the person, practicing the skill. Small beginnings are not weak beginnings, they are workable beginnings. Seeds do not look like forests, yet forests come from seeds. Underestimating small starts is one of the most common ways people abandon big callings. You must also understand that clarity grows through feedback. When you act, you learn. When you try, you discover. When you move, You adjust. Action produces information that thinking alone cannot produce. Many answers only appear after engagement. You learn what fits by doing, not just by imagining. You refine direction through correction, not prediction. There is also a spiritual principle in motion. Guidance often meets you on the path, not on the couch. When you show willingness through action, insight increases. When you demonstrate stewardship of small steps, larger steps are entrusted. Movement signals readiness. Stillness signals hesitation. Doors tend to open for those already walking toward them. Another reason you don't need full clarity is that over clarity can create intimidation. If you saw every challenge, every delay, every stretch, and every sacrifice required for your full calling at once, you might feel overwhelmed and quit before starting. Gradual clarity is mercy. It allows strength to grow alongside responsibility. It lets your capacity develop in stages. Perfectionism is another enemy of the first step. It says start when it's flawless. Purpose says start when it's faithful. Perfection focuses on performance. Faithfulness focuses on obedience. One tries to impress, the other tries to align. Progress belongs to the faithful, not the flawless. You will also make mistakes, and that is not evidence that you missed your calling. Mistakes are often part of navigation. Pilots adjust course constantly. Drivers make turns and corrections. Builders revise plans. Movement includes refinement. Error is not always failure. Sometimes it is instruction. Trust grows after stepping, not before stepping. Confidence grows after trying, not before trying. Strength grows after carrying weight, not before lifting it. The first faithful step is powerful because it breaks inertia and activates growth. So do not wait for complete clarity, complete confidence, and complete certainty. Take the next honest step you understand right now. Take it with humility, courage, and trust, and allow direction to unfold as you move. Purpose is not revealed to spectators. It is revealed to participants. A meaningful calling is not unlocked by talent alone, not sustained by motivation alone, and not fulfilled by dreams alone. Many people are gifted but stuck, inspired but inactive, capable but unmoving. What separates those who step into their unique path from those who only talk about it is a powerful three-part foundation: trust, obedience, and daily courage. These are not dramatic qualities reserved for heroes. They are quiet disciplines practiced in ordinary days. Repeated decisions and consistent inner alignments is the beginning point. Trust means believing that your calling is real, your direction is not accidental, and your steps matter even when results are not immediately visible. Trust accepts that you will not understand everything at once, and you do not need to. It releases the demand for total control and replaces it with steady confidence in divine guidance and purposeful design. Without trust, every obstacle feels like a stop sign. With trust, obstacles become training grounds. Trust also applies inward, trusting the gifts placed within you, the convictions that stay with you, the lessons you have learned through hardship, and the growth that has already happened in your life. Many people trust others more than they trust their own preparation. But inner development is not imaginary. Your experiences have built real strength, real awareness, and real capacity. Trust allows you to stand on that foundation instead of constantly doubting it. Obedience is the action partner of trust. Trust believes, obedience moves. Obedience means responding to the direction you have already been given instead of endlessly asking for new signs while ignoring current instructions. Often people pray for bigger opportunities while postponing smaller responsibilities. The purpose expands through stewardship. When you honor the step in front of you, you qualify for the step beyond you. Obedience is not about blind behavior. It is about aligned behavior. It means choosing what is right over what is easy, what is directed over what is popular, what is meaningful over what is comfortable. Sometimes obedience looks like starting when you feel unready, stopping when you feel attached, speaking when you feel nervous, or waiting when you feel impatient. It is not always emotionally convenient, but it is spiritually productive. Daily courage is what keeps trust and obedience alive over time. Courage is often misunderstood as a big, bold, fearless act. In reality, most purpose-driven courage is quiet and repetitive. It is showing up again after disappointment, trying again after rejection, practicing again after slow progress, believing again after doubt. It is choosing forward motion in small doses every day. Daily courage understands that calling is not fulfilled in one leap. It is built through many steps. One honest conversation, one disciplined habit, one faithful decision, one uncomfortable action at a time. Small courage compounds. Just like small neglect leads to drift, small bravery leads to breakthrough. There will be days when trust feels thin, when obedience feels costly, and when courage feels tired. That is normal. Consistency is not the absence of struggle. It is commitment despite struggle. On those days, you return to your why, you remember your assignment, you reconnect with your source of strength, and you take the next right step anyway. Another truth is this: trust removes panic, obedience removes confusion, and courage removes paralysis. Together, they create momentum. Momentum builds clarity. Clarity strengthens confidence. Confidence increases impact. This is how a unique path is unlocked, not through sudden transformation, but through steady alignment. Your path does not open all at once like a gate. It opens like a trail under your feet as you walk it. Each act of trust clears vision. Each act of obedience clears direction. Each act of courage clears resistance. So practice trust when you don't see results yet. Practice obedience when the step feels small. And practice daily courage when progress feels slow, because these three together are the keys that unlock, sustain, and fulfill your unique calling. Do not fear God's unique calling on your life, because it was not given to confuse you, trap you, or break you. It was given to reveal you, grow you, and position you where your life carries meaning and impact. Your calling is intentional. Your fear is understandable. Your first steps do not require perfect clarity, and your journey will be unlocked through trust, obedience, and daily courage. You are not asked to have everything figured out. You are asked to be willing, faithful, and moving. The path will not always feel easy, smooth, or certain, but it will be purposeful. There will be stretching seasons, learning seasons, and hidden seasons, and each one will build the strength required for what comes next. Nothing surrendered to purpose is wasted, and nothing faced with faith is empty. What begins with hesitation can grow into confidence. What begins with a small yes can grow into lasting impact. Step forward without fear, walk forward with faith, and accept the assignment written into your life. Because your calling is not ahead of you by accident, it is waiting for you by design.